Look, these first couple units in Khan Academy are relatively easy, so if you're somewhere in the 1200s or 1300s, you may overlook them, but if you haven't done them, you should still go through them. You're going to learn a lot of important details, and it does build up into the harder questions, but also it guarantees that when you see these questions on the real SAT, you're going to be really comfortable with them already. You're going to know exactly what you need to do as soon as you've seen them. So it's going to help with your time management as well. Let's jump right into it. Foundations algebra, solving linear equations and inequalities. All right, our first question is negative 26 plus z equals 15. The goal here is to solve for z. It says, what is the value of z? When you have an equation, you want to think about moving things away from what you're trying to solve for. In this case, we're trying to solve for z. We want to move the negative 26. That's our goal. The trick is to do the opposite operation of what we see happening. This is kind of tricky because we have a plus sign right before the z. It doesn't mean you have to minus 26, because if you minus 26 to both sides, you're going to get negative 52 on the left side of the equal sign. That's not going to help you. So understand you have to do plus 26. That's the opposite that I'm talking about, right? Like, you want to make sure you cancel out that number. So to cancel the 26, the negative 26, we have to add 26 to both sides. That'll give us z equals 41. So this time we have x minus 9 equals 1. I'm going to add 9 to both sides. I really want you to kind of see where I'm coming from. This is how you should show your work if you're not familiar with this level of work, if you're not good at this type of math. You want to show your work out every single time. Maybe on the real test, you don't have to show your work because you'll be wanting to save time, obviously. But when you're practicing, you always want to show your work, and you want to work as fast as you can. That'll help you with your muscle memory. So the answer here is going to be 10. Okay, awesome. We have 12 equals n minus 9. Again, I'm going to add 9 to both sides. Kind of a coincidence there. We get 21 equals n. All right, next we have 10 equals x over 10. This is why we keep going and we see all the questions before we just move on and skip. People forget that the fraction bar is division. What's the opposite of division? Multiplication. So we're going to multiply both sides by 10. That'll give us 100 equals x. That's what cancels out that fraction. Whenever you have a fraction, you want to multiply by the denominator. All right, so we get 100 as our final answer. We completed the first quiz and we feel really good. We got a 100%. We feel like that was really easy, but we're gonna go in and do it again because there's a random bank of questions for each square, for each unit. And within that bank, there are some very different types of questions in there, believe it or not. So we might get some repetitive questions where they are the exact same, but at least we're gonna see some more. We're gonna get more exposure, and that's what you want when you're doing Khan Academy. Understand Khan Academy is partnered directly with College Board, who makes the SAT. So you're going to be exposed to arguably hundreds, maybe even thousands of SAT questions. And when you're exposed to those questions, you're going to be way quicker with your decision making. That is what's going to help you get a great grade or a great score on the SAT, is how quickly you are with the work that you do. That's what separates a person from maybe an 1100 to a 1200, is that speed and comfortability. All right, so we're going to go back in the same exact quiz and do it again. All right, negative 25 plus k equals 21. We're going to add 25 to both sides in order to cancel that out. K equals 46, no problem. And I haven't even taught you how to use Desmos for these questions yet. I'll be doing that very soon. Okay, we have 2x equals 3. This is a little bit of a different question. I'm glad we did it twice. We did the same quiz twice so we could see different questions. The way that you could say this is 2 times x equals 3. When two things are touching, like the 2 and the x right now, that's going to be multiplication. In order to cancel out the 2, we're going to divide by 2. And just to be clear, you want to remember to get x by itself. So we're not going to move the 3. Don't worry about the 3. Just leave it where it is. This doesn't give us a whole number, but that's okay. This is still a valid SAT question and a valid SAT answer, even for the FRQ. So I'm going to do the fraction bar symbol and then 3 and a 2. All right, we're going to add 1 to both sides. I'm not even going to show my work here. We get 3. And then we're going to minus 18 on both sides. If you thought about adding 18 to both sides, it's not going to cancel that 18. You're going to get 36 plus k. We don't want that. So we get 12. So before I back out of this question, I want to show you how you can use Desmos to answer a question just like this. Desmos is the calculator that they provide to you directly on the laptop. So it won't be a physical calculator, but it'll be a virtual digital calculator. You're going to need to be very comfortable with the tips and tricks on Desmos when you have a single variable equation, which, look, this is a single variable equation. When I talk about a single variable equation, it doesn't matter if the same variable repeats itself. What you have on the screen here is a single variable equation because there's just a k. Even though they happen multiple times, it doesn't matter. When you have this situation, you could go into Desmos and you're going to do y equals the left side and y equals the right side. I split them into two equations, and on Desmos, here's what's going to happen. Because of the k value, you may not get a graph. So in red marker, I'm trying to show you to replace it with an x. In Desmos, you should do y equals x plus 3x. All right, so I'm on Desmos. I typed in what I told you to type in. You might see something that looks like this. Now, we only see one line, and for me, it's red. It might be a different color for you, but you could ignore that. But I zoomed out. Now, you should be able to zoom out with your mouse, or if you're using a laptop touchpad, you can zoom out like that. You also have the plus and minus sign in the top right corner where you can control your zoom. Zoom out a little bit, you'll see that blue, or a horizontal line. You want to click somewhere on any of those lines. I don't care which line you pick, but click on them and you're going to get those two gray dots, just like me. I just got those two gray dots popped up, and you want to click on the gray dot of where they intersect, where they cross each other. We get 2.5 and 10 as the coordinate. This 2.5 is the x value. If you know anything about graphing, you know that it goes x comma y. So you're trying to solve for the x variable, right? We did y equals x plus 3x and then y equals 10. You want to look at that x coordinate to find your answer. And that's how you can use Desmos for any single variable equation. It'll save you a lot of time and a lot of stress. Hey guys, so I realized we didn't do an inequality example, so here's me showing you that you're going to follow the same steps as the equations. We're going to do the opposite of what's happening to the variable. In this example, you can flip the entire inequality. Just make sure you flip the inequality symbol as well. So this is going to be x is less than -9 divided by 2. The process for using Desmos on inequalities is a little bit different, so check this out. We're going to graph the inequality exactly how we see it. We're not going to split it y equals left, y equals right. When we graph it this way, we get a vertical line that's either going to be dotted or solid. If it's dotted, that's because it's a less than or greater than symbol. If it's solid, then it has the underline underneath it, meaning it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. Since we have a decimal answer of -4.5, we could type that into Desmos and then click this button to the left and it'll turn it into a reduced fraction. So we see that it's -9/2. Okay guys, that's the first lesson. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you. Have a great day.